Okay, so in the first part actually we have added the basic input actions for jump, plus we have drafted the state and respective transitions that we require to implement this jump feature. Now I think we can implement these states and transitions, but first I think we should have sort of data that has been taken to this DT animation data table, right? Because currently we don't have any sort of animations or configurations related to jump. So let's quickly add that thing. Yeah, so I'll go to the data inside structs, locomotions, and movement. So here, yeah, I think it's safe to add to here, or maybe let me quickly check my documentation. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so I think since our jumping is sort of a common thing for any sort of a movement that we have, let's add that to general category, right? So inside general, I'll add a new blueprint structure called anim jump. Okay, and then let's add a field called jump start, which is an anim sequence, object reference, and we need jump start loop and jump apex, jump for loop, and jump for land, and finally jump recovery additive. Right, so this should be an additive animation which will be sort of like syncing in between two different animations, right? So we need 6 different fields to initialize the respective state at this state machine, right? Okay, so then let's add that to the SNM general category. So I'll add a new field called jump and add that specific data structure there. Save. Let's go to the SNM set. Yep, so it has been broken. That's okay. For the safe side, we have taken some backup for the DT anim set. Yeah, so let's reassign that thing. Save. Let's save it here. Let's go to the component level and compile. Right, so let's re-import the data structure as well. It says it missing these jump related fields. Obviously it should feel missing those stuff because at the JSON dump it doesn't have these sort of fields, right? That's okay. Simply click OK. Right, I think we all good. Yeah, all good. Okay, now you can see at the general section we have this field called jump, right? So let's add some animation instance for this jump. So I'll add unarmed jump start to here, start loop, apex, for loop, for land, and record editing. So all of these animations comes with this TPS game essentials package, right? And they're actually, these animations actually extracted from the Lyra sample project, right? So in case if you are not willing to use this TPS game essentials package, you can either export the animations from the Lyra sample project and add it to here, or if you require to use any sort of custom animations that has been created by yourself or different animation pack, you can plug the respective animations for these fields. Okay, if I save it now, and since we have a structural change at our DT set, I'll take a new export as well, because in case in future if it corrupted, then we can reinitialize it based on our backup, right? So I took a JSON backup, and then you can go to the BPC locomotion system, sorry, not there, ABP locomotion instance, and where, and add the, not try to say functions, let's go to the set animation data function, right? So let me quickly look at my documentation. Right, and let's go to this sequence pin and add a new pin, and I'll get this general struct pin to here, and here we have jump, right? And break it there, and now we have this references, right? So now I think we can promote these two variables, but let me see. Okay, yeah, so I'll promote this to a variable called jump. Yeah, we can't add this name because we have a state at our animation graph locomotion state machine, which is called jump start, right? So I will add a underscore to distinguish the naming, right? And I'll promote this to a variable, and this should be the jump start loop. This one is jump apex, and this one is jump for loop, and this one, let's promote it to jump for land, right? And finally we have jump recovery editing. Okay, I'll connect the pin to here, and I'll collapse the nodes and name it as jump. Okay, right, compile and save, and let's move all of these stuff to the anim sequences category. for loop for land and recover entity. Compile and save. Yeah. And then you need to determine some of the variables whether these are valid or not for some of the transitions. So I think we have a separate function called set and invalid, and I'll go there. Maybe I can add a new pin here, right? And since I have the reference for this variable, I will add the required validities for now. Later on, if we require, we can add more validities. But first we need this start loop, and we can simply check whether it is valid or not. If it is valid, I can promote it to a variable called is valid jump start loop. Right? So I'll add the execution pin to here. And similarly, we need a one for jump apex is valid, auto variable is valid jump apex. And finally, I suppose we need one for jump for land. Yeah, jump for land. And if it is valid, promote to variable called is valid jump for land. Okay. And I'll comment these things as jump validities. Okay. Then maybe I can organize these stuff to the anim validities category to here. Yeah, so this is a small naming issue. It should be simple. Yes. Okay. Now we have those validities at here. Okay. And then what we can do, we can go to anim graph, locomotion state machine, right? And now we can start implementing those states for each respective states. Those actual anim sequence for the respective states, right? So I'll start from jump start, right? And I'll add a sequence player, right? Because actually we are not going to do any sort of cardinal direction based jumpings, right? Instead we are following a simple jump because the jump is always for the upward, right? We don't need to specifically consider a specific direction, right? So I'll add a sequence player, right? And as the sequence, it should be exposed as pin, and it is not necessary to make it as dynamic because we are only pointing a one instance for as the anim sequence. And the anim sequence is basically what? Basically this one, jump start, right? Compile and save. And I think if I start playing now, yeah, it's still not working because we haven't implemented the transitions, but that's fine, right? So similarly, I'll copy the sequence player and go to the jump start loop, and let's plug that jump start loop animation to here, right? And then let's go to the jump apex Add the sequence player, plug the jump apex, and then let's go to the for loop, add the sequence player, and I'll add the for loop. And jump start to for loop. I think this is again jump start, right? Okay, and then what? Yeah, I think at the fall land we can't use the sequence evaluator because based on the fall we may need to do some evaluations instead of only playing the animation. Therefore, let's add a sequence evaluate, right? And there I don't need to expose explicit time as a pin, so I will untick it. But this explicit time should be a dynamic value because we are going to make some evaluations or advance in the explicit time based on the frame renderings. Therefore, make sure to make this as dynamic but not exposed as a pin. And then what else we can do? Yeah, we don't need to teleport to exact explicit time. Instead, we are playing the sequence consecutively. Therefore, I will untick this one. Plus, we are playing the for land animation only once. Therefore, I don't need to enable this should loop state. So I will untick that as well. Right. But for the sequence, it should be exposed as a pin because we are going to use a variable value at here. So let's add that variable here. And yeah, good to go. Okay. But where do we add that jump recovery additive? Yeah, so the jump recovery additive, actually we will implement this when it comes to the additive animation section. For now, I think we are okay with these states, right? Because this is additive animation, I think it would be nice if it covers at the additive layer based stuff. Okay, right. Now what we can do? Yeah, so now the remaining part is implementing these transitions, but it will be quite long. Therefore, I think it would be nice if I stop the video here and I'll cover those transitions at the part 3, right? So if I recap what we have done in the part 2, basically we have created this new SNM jump data structure and we include it to the SNM general like this. And finally, we have set of fields that has been available at our data table level. And then we attach those required animation sequence to those respective fields. And then those references has been taken at this set animation data using this collapsed node. And we now have these references. Plus, we did some validity check-ins at here at set anim validity. And finally, we implemented those animations at each respective states. Right. So that's all for now, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.